Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking another look here at APT, seeing if it's worthwhile to take a long or a short position. What is the consideration here? What the heck's going to happen next? I get a lot of questions on coins like this because there's not a tremendous amount of data, fairly recent ICO if I'm not mistaken. And of course, when it comes to APT or any other coin that has less data, there's certain approaches you want to take. A lot of it's based on Fibonacci retracements and a handful of other little indicators. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that as well. But for the most part, I use more standard indicators, and I feel that if you simplify trading, it just makes it a lot easier. Go figure, right? We also have a statement in our community too, talking about if you're not taking profit, you're never going to be profitable, right? So there's certain things that kind of seem redundant, that are redundancies in crypto and just trading in general, but I think less is more in a lot of cases. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. And if you are new to the channel, keep this in mind. I'm not a financial advisor. I love teaching people to trade. So I do, want you to learn something here today. If you do learn something, please comment below, let me know, and be happy to, essentially help you become a better trader. Because I do have a trading academy community and Signal group. So if you check out, my Discord, you'll see, of course, a lot of fantastic traders in our community here, just killing it lately, with a decent amount of shorts, as well as the fact that I send out signals for trades that I take, right? So we took 33% from Gala here, profit target 2 in only 2 hours. And what is it? BNB, our most recent trade here, 4 profit targets, 59% in 9 hours. So again, those are just things that I provide to my community as well with signals. They're fully automated through Cornix. It's a fantastic situation. Be sure to check that out. And obviously check out Bitget as well. We have a monthly prize pool for our community. So all you gotta do is use the link down below to register. And it's really awesome exchange. Everything is simple, easy to use. It's the best exchange I've ever used personally. That's why I partnered with them. And essentially that's kind of what I'd recommend checking out. You will need a VPN, of course. I got you covered here as well, but using ExpressVPN for years, and recently partnered with them for 3 months free on a 12-month plan. It's pretty inexpensive. So be sure to check that out. And just to jump in here with APT or just Fibonacci retracement levels, like how does that work? What's the best approach? Well, we're going to draw out some newer Fibonacci retracement lines because you don't just want to use the old data, but the old data tells you where the key level supports and resistances are. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and mark these in the chart here really quick, just kind of get perspective on where we could have some key level supports and resistances. I particularly like to mark the 1.272 and 1.618. Because again, this is probably going to be the range that we might be stuck within eventually if the price were to retrace, but this will also be a strong support level if we close above that level here today. Because again, 1.618 is a key support and resistance level in most cases, and we've broken that level here. So I'll talk about that in just a minute, but I just want to get those up there, and then we'll go ahead and draw out some new fibs here for the most recent low, or most recent high to most recent low. Okay, so we got our strong support ranges, and we've also got our most recent Fibonacci retracement levels. So simply put here, when we're looking at these charts and we kind of want to see what's going on, for the most part, when you look at Fibonacci retracement, there's specific ones that are pretty consistent, right? So we saw that consistency here at 1.618 for when we drew this line out at roughly $14.80. We can also see another 1.618 at $16.31, right? So we can see the candle wicked up there. It's a great chance that's a strong resistance level, and we won't surpass that in the immediate future. It's uncommon for 1.618 to be broken the first time. Okay, it has to be retested, which is why this level here was tested once, twice, and then the third time it broke through. Okay, so generally speaking, those are things I try to look for when drawing out Fibonacci retracement levels. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and look at some other data as well. So long story short here, we've been above 70 on RSI for quite some time, right? January 9th to the 25th. So we're looking at somewhere in the range of almost 3 weeks, basically 2.5 weeks of continuation of the upside. So let's see what that looks like. Is this healthy or is this unhealthy? First of all, it pretty much started right here when the RSI kicked over. So even though we were overextended leading into this, it continues and consolidates right here. This isn't a lot of consolidation, but it's definitely a consideration. And you see this little doji candle there? That tells you there's indecision to the upside. And then instead of breaking down, it goes up. So awesome stuff here. We like to see that kind of situation. So that is healthy in a sense. So this little reset here is warranted. And this next leg up, even though we're up to a 6, we've had 6 days of continuation in this most recent run, we're still not fully overextended. So again, I think the summarization here is if you're going to long or short, you want to make some tight profit targets in place. Try not to go super large with your targets, okay? Because again, when you are taking profits, it's important specifically with leverage, which a lot of people use, to ensure that you're not wiping out your account and just going broke and hitting liquidation points all over the place. You want to take profits early. You want to set your stop loss accordingly, especially if you're using short positions. So with APT, how much further can it run? Well, hypothetically, we could see 3 more days of upside. Again, that's hypothetical. It doesn't always happen that way, but that's exactly what it's telling us here. We can also see the RSI is essentially making higher lows, and this is kind of telling us that it's gaining momentum, but you got to recognize it's also extremely overextended. Okay, so with that overextension, while it could continue to run, the likelihood is less, I feel, because Bitcoin is at this point where it's probably going to retrace a little bit further. That's my anticipation. And if that were to happen, something like this could very well retrace. Because if we take a look at APT and kind of compare it with Bitcoin, it's not exactly the same, but it's running similarly, okay? So if Bitcoin were to retrace, we could very well see APT turn itself around. So again, there's no specific alignment between the two, and that's why APT is so intriguing. A lot of coins will break free from Bitcoin and kind of do their own thing. This could be a very strong fundamental catalyst, but it's also just the fact that it's running, and sometimes the extra volume comes through and you can see a sharp increases, okay? So speaking of volume, when you see this much volume, unless it can sustain itself, the price will typically turn itself around. If we see here, of course, we had a sharp increase in volume, and even though it tapered off, the price increased. That basically tells us the bears were no longer willing to sell, okay? They just kind of let it run. We saw a lot of consolidation here. Volume continues lower, price comes down. That tells us the bulls were overextended. We see this here, the price shoots up, bulls are back on track, and the bears are nowhere to be seen. So for the most part, you can kind of see these little fluctuations, little trends that happen where there's the give and takes, push and pulls. But now that we've broken above this level, it'd be safe to presume that 1480, that key level Fibonacci retracement at 1.618 essentially, is going to work as a support level. That's the anticipation. That being said, I would not expect the price to drop below that immediately, but if it were to retrace, that would probably be a good bouncing point. So what I mean by that, if you're not familiar with this already, and I teach this in all my videos and my trading academies, is that when you have higher highs and higher lows, that's fantastic, that's all great, but the most recent high is going to work more likely as a new low. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this a little easier to see, just so you can understand what I'm talking about here. This little guy here, this most recent high right there at 1425, kind of almost wicked up to the 14.8, right? That will be the new low. So hypothetically, the price shouldn't drop below that most recent high. So I get the question, like if I'm going long, where am I going to put my stop loss? Well, you put your stop loss right below the most recent high. Okay, so somewhere in the range of just say 14 even. That's a rough estimate of what that could look like. Okay, so again, just some educational tips for you. But generally speaking, that's where we're at there. So looking at some other key indicators, we'll go ahead and wrap this up here for you. We can see we're back up over 70 on the RSI. So this could imply that we're now bullish on APT, and it could continue to run. Let's see if there is an indication here. We're at a 4, so we could hypothetically have another 5 more 4-hour candlesticks, another 20 hours continuation the upside. And again, I like to say hypothetically because when you hit a 9, it's not guaranteed it's going to turn itself around, right? That's no guarantee. But you have multiple 9s in a row, just say we have another 9 up here, the probability of a pullback would be greater, right? So that's just something to kind of pay attention to here. But with us being up over 70 now, that could work as a support level. So that could imply the most recent low at 1575 is as low as it's going to go. All right, there's a chance of that. Taking a look here, though, of course, at the MACD, we are converging pretty heavily. Obviously, that will happen when you have some really strong green candles like this. So let's take a look at the hourly and see if this is actually a healthy continuation or if it's going to pull back and we should see a turnaround here. So let's see here. So first of all, based on TD sequential, let's go ahead and take a look here. Because again, 9s typically happen in, if you see multiple 9s in a row, the more likelihood of a pullback is greater, right? So we see 1 9 here, no consolidation, the price shoots up, squeezes through this resistance level, shorts hedge their shorts with longs, and the price continues higher, okay? So ultimately, when that occurs, and we have a 9 here and the price continues higher, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, what do you know, 9 hours into this continuation. So we've had 2 9 hours blocks to the upside with no resistance whatsoever, right? So that being said, is the price going to pull back? Well, there's a decent chance of that based on this being 1.6, this 1.618 mark here at about 1633. That should work as a resistance level, okay? And the reason why I feel that is just because, once again, we've had 18 hours of continuation. What is the percent on that from bottom to top? We're looking at almost 40%. That's a pretty significant margin. Now, I know in crypto that's not a lot, but generally speaking, this thing has almost doubled its size and value in the last 18 hours, less than 24. So the probability of a pullback is greater in that sense, at least on the hourly. And when I say hourly, what I mean by pullback is that, it could very well just be something as simple as this, or it could be one of these, right? The overall trend is up right now. I don't think APT is done going up, but I do feel like in the immediate future, we should see it go down relatively soon, once again, because I feel that Bitcoin is hitting that little resistance here on the cloud, and it's having difficulty getting past that point. So if we take a look at that here as on APT, let's take a quick look at the cloud, kind of see, it's exactly opposite of that. Okay, and what this basically telling us here is that long position is still open. You want to keep it open because it could and likely should continue to ride. But on the inverse, you see the cloud here starting to average itself out right there at that 14.7, 14.8 mark. There's a great chance that $15 is the immediate bottom. Okay, so if the price were to come back down, if I were to short this, I would have multiple profit targets just above these key level Fibonacci retracement lines, and then obviously have some aggressive ultimate targets, maybe target 4 and 5, only having a small position size left available, right? You want to take most of your profits in this range here because that's where it's tentatively range bound, and the probability of pulling back here, even though it is kind of low with this overall trend to the upside potential, it's still higher, which is why you want to take targets earlier, right? Again, it seems kind of crazy and counterintuitive, but generally speaking, APT, while it should continue to run over the next couple of days, I think we should see a pullback in the immediate future based on this hourly time frame. Okay, let's do one last quick, thorough take at the 15-minute, and just kind of see here. We got a lot of indications here that the price is over 70 on the RSI, and we have a lot of sell signals. So had I taken this trade, just say right back here, I would have taken profit right in this range here. Okay, again, hindsight's 20/20, totally easy to see, but my EMA VWAP indicator is pretty awesome for that. But when you look at the standard deviation, you can see we went well outside that deviation line and the price pulled back. We're still above the VWAP, but look at this. What do you know? The VWAP is averaging itself out at 1.618, 14.8. So 14.8 to me is a target to either take a long or to short to that goal. Do I think that we're going to hit that 14.8 in the immediate future? Probably not, but in the relative distant future, in the next couple of days, I think that's a probability. Again, just based on overextensions, different things there. But on the daily, we're not looking terrible. 4 hours kind of giving us some neutral information, but the hourly is telling us we should see a pullback. It would make perfect sense if we did see a pullback. Once again, try not to short to the ground level. That's not the way it works. You take little profits along the way. That's how you stay profitable. That's what I teach my community, and that's why we are all learning, growing together, and just ultimately doing very well, right? So again, keep up the good work, everybody. Super proud of you. And I think that these results will continue if you just remain patient and make sure you honor and adhere to your own risk tolerance. Okay, so all in all, that's where we're at here for APT. We'll cover it continually moving forward, but for now, be very careful in shorting or longing, and if you do, tight profit targets would be appropriate. Thanks again for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one.